Okay, no one want to say anything? So last time we did check that OSPF is part of dynamic routing protocols. We are responsible to share the networks to other neighbors. If I know something that Tondo doesn't know, I share with her. If she has some info I don't know, me too, she shares with me, and we are all up to date to help each other to forward informations. So to configure, last time we did check that you can use the network command, like here, router OSPF, and we add any networks. Be careful of the wildcard mask in area 0. We could also use the interface like we did last time. Interface, we identify the interface that will participate in the OSPF process. Then it works. So now there is something called router ID. What is router ID? Let's go to chapter 2. I close this also. Um, Router ID is something routers they use to elect, let's say, the boss. I'm going to show you here. Router ID is here. So when you have many routers interconnected, like that, one should be the big boss to share information. So one will grab information from outside and start sharing between. So one will grab all info, then share with people. Now, if you come here, or towards here, so the router ID is used to identify a OSPF router. So every router requires a router ID to participate in a OSPF domain when we are all interconnected. So we use it, the router ID is used by OSPF enable router to participate in the synchronization of OSPF database. So when I know something you don't know, I share with you. You too, you know something I don't know, you share with me, so that we get the same info. We say we are synchronized. So when you have many routers interconnected, we have to elect the big boss called the DR. The router with the highest router ID is elected as the DR. And any other, the second highest is called the backup DR. So you can check this one quickly and I will continue. Okay, so after router ID, so based on what we're going to elect the DR, so we can configure ourselves router ID, or if we don't configure, the routers will share the highest IPv4. So the one who has the highest IPv4 will be elected as the DR. So first thing first, we can configure ourselves the router ID. Else, we can check the highest IP for the loop back address. or the router will choose the highest active IP address. So we're going to compare. We say, okay, hi guys, we don't have router IDs configured, we don't have loopback. Okay, me, this is my IP. The other one will so this is my IP, and the highest one will be. So it's very important for any router in OSPF to get a router ID to identify that router, to participate in the synchronization of information sharing or database, and also to elect VDR. So if you want to configure a loopback interface is not a physical interface, and it's a logical one to allow the engineer to use the PC or no, to use the router, even if, let's say, for example, there is no ESCOM. So it's always live, it's always on. It's just for fun, for admin purpose. So we configure the same way like a normal interface. So interface loopback one, IP address, subnet mask, and that's all. And if you tab show IP protocols, you'll see it here. This one is very important. You can also have a look, and we continue. Okay. So these commands are new ones that we'll use to verify our configurations. Show IP protocols. We'll get a lot of info, but we say pipe include router ID. It means in that result, filter only router ID. I want to see only router ID. Okay. So to configure manually router ID, it's simple. Router OSPF 10, and you configure router ID. That is here. So if I take a router here, enable, show IP routes, you can see that our OSPF is there, active. If you tap show protocols, you press enter. So we'll get a lot of info. Show protocols question mark. Okay, it's fine. Now, if you need to configure router ID, conft router OSPF 10, for example. If I tap question mark, you can see that I have the opportunity to select router ID. Then I can type router ID, and I can say 2.2.2. So it will be given in the equation. I'm done. Do copy, run, start, and so yeah, this is how we configure router ID. We in the global config mode, router OSPF, and then and you add it here. Now to verify, we tap again show protocols. Is it show IP protocols? Show IP protocols. Yeah. So if I tap show IP protocols, I'll see here, you can see here my router ID.
Max, good morning. Good morning, all. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, Tony.
How are you?
It depends on your question.
Listen here. Listen here, the router ID now of that one that you configured
Yeah.
is would that be the DR now or what?
Now DR, it's like you and me, you need to elect the teacher, and the teacher is based on the highest router ID. So if me, I have a router ID, I need to know you also your router ID for us to compare, and the highest is elected. You see? So
Okay,
for
but
example,
you
yeah,
need to do that. You need to do that manually.
yeah. So as we see, 1 second, it's a very good question. So when it comes to router ID in OSPF, we have three ways, three options. Option one, we configure ourselves manually, or if you don't do that, we go to option two. If we did configure loop back addresses, then the highest will be. Else, if you don't have option one, option two, now the routers will compare the IPv4 that are connected. Router one and router two are both connected. We're going to compare the IPs that link them, and the highest the router will be that's um, DR. So if you go to the other router, for example, here we have two routers here. If I ask you which one is the DR, what are you going to say? So we need to go to option one first, because I did configure one on router one. I'm going to configure. I'm going to configure on the other router, router two. Conft host name R2. I didn't do that. Router OSPF. Then router ID. Now here I can say 5.5.5.5. Do copy run start. No, no. Let me. Oh, okay, I made a mistake. Okay, anyway. Okay, let me not configure any router ID. Oh, it's gone already. So you see, automatically it formed a relationship again with the other one. Okay, anyway, it's fine. Okay, let's leave it. It's fine. And show IP protocols. Now this guy, this is the router ID for R2. Now, how are we going to see or to check which one is the DR? For us human beings, we know 5 is the highest, so it will be the VDR. But there is a command and to view. I'm going to show you down here. So router ID, you know now. Now, if you want to view, yeah, we type show IP OSPF neighbor. So first thing first, check this slide. Sorry, I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay. So now we have a new command. Show IP OSPF neighbor. So let's type on router 2. I type show IP. Show IP OSPF question mark. So I can type database, interface, neighbor, and so for us we're going to use neighbor. We press enter, and now you can see here my neighbor. So on router 2, my neighbor is R1. This is for R1. Full state. You say what? We have full relationship, but here it say BDR. Why? It say BDR, backup DR. Let's go to router 1 and check. We come to router 1. We also type show IP OSPF neighbor, press enter. So on router 1, my neighbor is router 2, and this is now what this one means, full and DR. Let's go back to our thing here. So multi-access OSPF, it means when many routers are interconnected. Here I have router 1, this is the ID. Router 3 is here, this is the ID. Now, normally router 3 is VDR. So if I have router 2 connected also, and I type show IP OSPF DR, it will show that router 2, for this one, I'm going to show you, I'm going to show where it comes from. It comes from here, for example. Router 1 is here. So I have router 1, I have router 2, I have router 3. And it's just an example. So router 1 has the ID, router 3 has ID. Now we're going to compare between these two. So according to our papers here, so we can see the neighbor with the highest router ID is VDR. So he 333 belong to R3. Full means I have full relationship with R2. Means we can share database, share information together. And this router, this ID 333 is VDR. You see? So now if you come to our place here and we open, so you see this one is linked to this. So I'm on R1, I tap show IP OSPF neighbor. So R1, my neighbor is R2. This is the ID, this is the router ID of R2. R1, I have full relationship with R2. And this one, this neighbor is the DR. So it means R2 is the DR. So this information are linked to what I see here. So let me delete. Um, Let me delete that. So to delete router ID, you tap conft router OSPF 10 no router ID. Do copy run start and show IP. No, show IP protocols. Yeah. And if I tap that, my router ID is still here. So it means I didn't delete properly. Const router OSPF 10 no router ID to. So it's still showing. It means in packet tracer, the feature to remove seems not working properly. Normally it should be, but anyway, you know what this router ID is and why we need it. There is also something called, there is also something called, so you know router ID, passive interface. Passive interface is what you see on router 1 and router 2. They are all interconnected. So this interface will talk together to, to exchange information. Database, hello, how are you? This is my router ID, my IP, my what. But if you see on router, on R1, you see interface G000 facing the LAN. There is no other router to talk to exchange information with. So we say this interface G000 is a passive interface. It's facing the LAN, it's a passive interface. It's not going to participate in the OSPF process because it's not connecting to any router. So how am I, because router, we talk to another router. We don't talk to switch. So this interface G000 is passive interface. So I'm going to router ID, to modify. Yes, to modify, we need to remove first. Okay, I'll show you a bit later. There is a way to modify, to remove and we need to clear, you see here. We'll do that a bit later. If you want to remove or configure or manipulate or modify, you need to clear first the process, then you can create a new one. You see, previously it was 10. I want to add a new one. You see, no, you can't because it's still there. So you need to clear the process, then you can add a new one. So it's something I'll show you later. So let's go for passive interface. Be careful of a wildcard mask that I explained last time. Okay, network command, we did. 1 second, I'm coming in. Okay, what we were doing, what we were saying. Yeah, so to configure OSPF, you can use the network command or the interface. This one we know, passive interface. Okay, you can read yourself quickly. It's what I explained. Okay, now this is how we configure router, the passive interface. We have many ways, router OSPF 10, passive interface, and you identify the interface that will be the passive interface. When it's done, you tap show IP protocols and it will show you here what is the passive interface. I'm okay, DR, we did that with the highest router ID. Here, router 3 has the highest router ID compared to router 1 and router 2. So R3 is elected. So that's what you know. Okay, now let's try to configure a passive interface. On R1, G000, let's try to do that. Const router OSPF 10 question mark. You can see that I have the option to configure a passive interface. Then I can use it. Passive interface question mark. I can choose. So here it's G000. So I put G000. Oh, I put many times. Do copy, run start. Show IP protocols. If I tap show IP protocols, I can see passive interface is here. It means that interface will not participate in the OSPF process. There is also a command, show IP OSPF G000, show IP, what's OSPF interface, show IP OSPF, question mark. I can use interface, show IP is interface, question mark. Now I can specify the name, interface G0. To view all information related to that interface, I press enter. The process ID is here. The ID of that interface is here. The area. What else? Transmit delay. No hellos. Yeah, no hellos. It means it's a passive interface. No hellos. Because if you participate in the OSPF and you need to greet the other router, hello, my name is router 1. This is my IP, my router ID, my. And these are some networks I know about. Router 2 will say, okay, hi, router 1. My name is R2, my IP, my router is in. So it's not, this interface is a passive. It's not going to participate in this greeting stuff. Um, we can also do the other one. Interface facing R2 is a G001. We're going to see what is there. G001. Press enter. So on that interface facing router 2, I can see that this is the router ID, I know. You see, and I'm the backup because I have the lowest router ID. So I'm the backup DR. The DR router ID is this one for router 2. And yeah, you have a lot of information that you can check. So we'll see what is hello time, dead time, and all these things. So we're going to check that shortly. We continue with our OSPF. So you know how to configure using the network commands, the interface commands. You know what is router ID, how to configure. You know what is passive interface. Okay, look back, it's just, yeah. Okay, we'll check that also. Okay, when you have a lot of routers interconnected, we need to elect VDR. So we did that. So there is also something called, before we go to how to modify, to manipulate OSPF, like changing the cause, the hello interval, and dead interval. There is something called router OSPF priority. So you can check this one and we'll do a demo. Okay, so it's written what? Instead of relying on router ID, it's better to control the election by setting interface priorities. Oh, mm, interface priority. So this is it. We go to interface and we set up the priority. So if you don't want to, for DR election, if you don't want to focus on the router IDs, you can yourself directly manipulate by configuring interface priorities. So let us check if it will work. Um, so I have router 1 and router 2. Normally router 2 is the big boss. So I want to force router 1 to become the big boss. So I want to elect to set up a highest interface priority. So let's try. So how it's done, we go to the router interface and IP OSPF priority. Okay. Conft. We go to that interface G 000 IP. We see what? IP OSPF priority. IP OSPF question mark. You can see that you can use priority. And the highest, 255. If you don't know why, question mark, you can see, you can choose between 0 to. So 255 is the highest. 255. Do, copy, run, start. Show IP OSPF. Uh, which command we did type to view all these things before? Uh, I think it was neighbor. Yeah, OSPF. Your neighbor. Okay, so for that to work, we need first thing first to clear the router IDs because we use interface. We use that command the interface priority when we don't want to focus on router IDs. So let's try to clear. We say that to clear, it's a clear IP OSPF process. Let's check. Um, Let me go back there. Yeah, so clear IP OSPF process. If you want to remove your router IDs, you see, you need to clear and you say yes. So let's try that. Show IP OSPF process. Clear IP OSPF process. Press enter. I say yes, I want to clear all the processes. I tap again, show IP OSPF neighbor. You see now? I need to go to router 2 also. Clear IP. Clear IP OSPF process. I go there. I come here. Enable conft. No, not conft. We just start directly. I say yes, I want to clear. Show IP protocols. Is it protocol? Show IP OSPF neighbor. And this guy didn't clear. Normally it should have clear, but it was showing that it's cleared. If I go to G, what did we do? Let's check here. Here, show IP OSPF interface G. It seems we didn't focus on the correct interface. Let me check again. Conft OSPF 10. Normally it should have cleared it. Conft router OSPF router ID. It say we need to clear first. We clear. I don't know why with packet tracer didn't clear, but normally if you work on a real router, it will clear. Let me double check again. I didn't clear, but anyway. So if you're a network engineer and you don't want to focus on router IDs, you have a plan B by using this option, by using the interface priority. So it's rather not to configure router IDs and focus on this. It's much easier. Okay, we have last two things we should know about router IDs. Let me check something. It doesn't exist here. Mhm. We have to check that a bit later. So there is also something called, if you want to modify the OSPF process, we have something called the cost, halo interval, and dead interval. So quickly, 1 minute, start, no, this one, let me, yeah, start read for 1 minute and I'll explain for you. You can also read this one. Okay, so when you use OSPF, I think it's the last, we have 3 things to know and we are done for OSPF. So when you finish configuring all your OSPF stuff, you have some comments: show IP interface brief, show IP rules. So this one you know. The new ones: show IP protocols, show IP OSPF, show IP OSPF interface and the interface name. You can also tap show IP OSPF neighbors. These are the new comments that you should be familiar with. So let's check this Halo stuff. Okay, let's cost, routing protocols, metric. Okay, this one you just need to do the configs. Will tell you, okay, for this interface, use that cost. So there is nothing seriously here. You go to interface, IP OSPF cost, you add the cost, and then you see lower cost, indicate better path. So, okay, this one. But what is most important is Halo and dead interval. Router 1 and router 2 are talking together. So we should be able to always talk together to make sure that the network is up and running. So we need to greet each other every 10 seconds. Default hello, in 10 seconds. Hi R2, are you still there? I'm R1. And R2 will reply, hi R1, yes, I'm still there. Okay, we can, if in case you know something new, share with me. Okay, understood. So we every 10 seconds we need to greet each other. If I cannot hear from you from R2 after 40 seconds, I say hello R2 and I wait. If after 40 seconds, 4 times the hello time, so the dead interval is 4 times the hello. So if I say after 40 seconds I cannot hear from R2, it means R2 is down. We cannot share information anymore. So you as the network engineer, you can manipulate them, change the default. Like here, you go to an interface facing R2, or you go to R2 interface facing R1, and you set up yourself. You can change the default to 5, and the dead interval should be always 4 times the hello interval.
Mr. Max.
Yo,
Now what happens if the other router is not responding and it's dead after that seconds? What happens after that?
so it means I cannot share information with you anymore. I keep everything with me. And if I need to, so here, if these guys, we want to communicate with these guys, we won't see anymore. It
So,
means,
yeah. So what happens if that router is up again after say an hour and then it's up again? What happens then? Will the R1 send a hello again?
yes, we need again to start the OSPF process. The, greeting each other. This one is chapter 1. We need
So
to,
so
yeah.
so Max, if I understand it correct, if it's dead and it needs to be alive again, and so the R1 will continue sending hellos up until the R2 will respond to say I'm up again. You can share the information again.
Normally, if R1, if R2 is dead, he won't send anymore. But as soon as R2 is up, R2 will send hello now to R1. Say, I receive a hello from R2. Okay. And R2 and R1 again will start sending again. So the new hello process will start when R2 is up and running, and it will send a greeting to R1. Then R1 will know that there is someone, and we start again the election process. The election process. So the component of OSPF. The hello packet, we share the database, the list of network we know. And so here's a bit of theory and the process of OSPF. Me, I don't like because it's only a theory. I don't like theory too much. We establish neighbor agency. So when R2 is back again, we need to establish again neighbor agencies by greetings, comparing router IDs and all this stuff. But it's very rare that a router fails. So if you check the video, we explain a bit how two routers can get full agency for them to, or full neighbor relationship to start. So these are what is, and we explain what is hello, discover neighbor. We also have another video in chapter 1 Okay, this one is just explanation. And, but neighbor agency is very important before we start. If I don't have any neighbor, I keep everything for myself. If not, in the process, I'll spend my time saying hello to no one and wasting my time. So after 40 seconds or the dead interface, dead interval, I stop until a new neighbor greets me. Then we can start again establishing neighbor agencies. Okay, let's continue. So we know how to manipulate a bit the hello, dead. What is more important? Be careful. Dead interval is 4 times. You can say for your exam, okay, the hello interval is 20 seconds for this example. Configure the dead one. So you remember, the dead one is 4 times the hello. The dead is 4 times. So when you have two routers at the interface, what can you configure at the interface? You can configure hello interval, dead interval, interface priority. You can at an interface. For me, I like making my notes so that it's easier for me to understand quick. There is something called root propagation. And I think it's the last one for today.
Mr. Max, sorry,
Yes,
man. I'm a bit vocal this morning, man. I
no
don't
problem.
understand.
No problem,
Sorry,
no problem.
sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. The cost. How do you work out the cost?
No, because it depends on the question. So if
Okay.
in your packet tracer there is no such thing, then you leave it. Let me open the packet tracer so that we can see together. Um, labs. So it depends on what we're asking you. If, determine DR, BDR, propagate, multi-area, modify. Okay, modify single. Let's take this one. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so it depends on what question we ask here. Adjust hello and data timer. So here we guide you, as you know. We're going to tell you, okay, do this. We're going to adjust the bandwidth. Do this. That's all for here. No, it's not nice. Let me use another one. Point to point. Let's check this one. Let's come here. We say configure router ID. Okay, this one you know. Configure net. You see, configure OSPF using networks. You see, network command. configure passive interface and verify. So we show you here, you have a questions, we show you how to do it. Passive interface, we show you. So it depends on the question. If they want you to manipulate something, we'll tell you, okay, configure something with this cost. I think it's somewhere else. I know it's somewhere. Uh,
Okay, okay, Max. So you don't need to work out the cost. They will ask you.
yeah, exactly.
They'll give you the cost, and then you must sort it out.
Exactly.
Okay, okay, understood.
Okay. Let me check if maybe we can show you an example here. Mhm. Configure SPN, customization. So see here, for example, activate OSPF by configuring the interface. So here they show you, they give you root IDs. Um, you see here interface priority. Um, Hello, configure Hello ended interface. So here, you see here, so that the default cost, at least here, will be 10. See? So we'll mention, if they want you to do such thing, it will be mentioned with all information. And then you just go there, you go to interface. If you say all the gig interface should be 10, IP OSPF cost 10. If they say all serial interface on router should be 50, you go to all serial interface and you put cost 50. That's all. Yeah, so it depends on see here we say gig internet, the cost 10. So you check on your router, all gig you put them cost 10. We say here fast Ethernet, you put them, you go there and you type all cost 100. Yeah, that's all. Nothing else. There is something called automatically distribute the default route to all routers in your network. If I have 3 routers interconnected and I want to configure default route, I configure on one router and I distribute. It's going to push to other routers. I don't need to go router per router to configure default route, router one, default route, router two, no, no. You configure on one router, and that router will publish to other routers. Will tell all other routers, hi guys, if you need a default route, this is it. So to do that, there is a command. I'm going to show you now. That command is route propagation. So you configure first on one router. So for example, on router 2, you type IP route, 4 zeros, 4 zeros. Remember, static route now, we have many ways to do that. And router OSPF, if you type this command, default information originate, it means this default route you configured on R2 will be sent to all other routers. So first thing first, you configure the default route. Then you use that command to allow R2 to publish to other routers. The day we do the revisions, the assessment, the skill assessment, yeah, we'll do that because here we'll configure at the end of CCNA3. We'll do revisions on OSPF, mm, activate OSPF, configure router ID, uh, how to customize. We also do parts to NAT, network address translations. So we have a lot to cover before we finish our CCNA3. So normally that's all for chapter 1 and chapter 2, OSPF. Uh, If you wanted to adjust the bandwidth, it's only one comment. So we'll tell you, adjust router OSPF 10 and autocost reference. We'll tell you put 1000 or 10, it depends on the speed you see. We'll tell you. If I come here, so here we didn't specify. We didn't. So you see here for the cost also, Antonio, is in cost, we specify. So you go to that interface and you put the cost, and that's all. Yeah, so next Saturday at CPUT, if we meet there, hopefully it will be sunny. Yeah, we'll do some labs. We'll do some labs on this. In fact, I can activate this one so that next Saturday we focus on this one, because this one is quite nice. We do only part one. We try to clear everything here. Yeah, so I'm going to activate the skills exam, the assessment, the practice. Maybe this afternoon, I'll let you know when done. And we'll focus next Saturday at CPUT on part one only. So please also by your side, practice that. Practice, play around with, and it should be okay. Okay, that's now for OSPF. So next time on Monday, we'll do network security. And Wednesday, we'll start a bit of access control list. A bit of access control list. Any questions before we end this session for today?
One last question, Max.
Okay, yes, no problem.
General question.
Yeah,
All these configurations that you teach us on this the CCNAs or the course,
yeah.
is it only for Cisco devices like routers or switches, or can it be applied to any other switches and routers?
Okay, very good question also. So normally what we are doing now, it's only for Cisco routers, but it will send policy, the same thing if you go for a Huawei router. It's like you go for driving school and you know how to drive, let's say, I don't know, a Toyota. So you know how to drive a Toyota car. Even if they give you, I don't know, what other, Omoda or Sherry or Mercedes, you should be able to drive it because at least you know how it works. So it's the same thing. If you want to configure OSPF, this is how it is. Maybe the other guy, Huawei, or maybe the other manufacturer, will change something, a small thing only. It'll change something very small, but in general, it will be same concept. The same concept.
Yeah, yes, Max. So the commands on what we learn here is for Cisco devices only.
Yeah,
On other devices, the commands would be different.
it might be different. Let me check. I'm going to show you something for Huawei. 1 sec. I'll stop sharing for 1 second. Time for me to find that file. Then I'll show you. 1 sec. OSPF. One second, I'm checking. No, OSPF. OSPF. Mhm. Check another one. This is page 97. Mhm. Oh, what is it? Dynamic group. It's almost there. Routine. Equal pause. Yeah. Okay. So can. So this Huawei guys, this is how we do this stuff. You know, China, they copy what other people did. They change something a bit. That's all. Nothing else. Same thing for the cars. We check, this is how we build the plane or the road or what. Okay, let's do ours. So they have their own way. Um, uh, we'll also explain what is dynamic routing protocols, the same thing, classification. This one is exactly what Cisco is doing here. The same presentation, but we just to adjust on their own way. Now, when it comes to configs, um, the OSPF, area 0, I'm just checking a config. The types, the hello stuff. So it's the same thing. Only the config, they try to change a bit. So the router IDs are there also. So router IDs. So it's easier for someone who studied Cisco to adapt to any other uh, manufacturers. Typical chapter 3 relationship. Yeah. Uh, the hello, you see the hello stuff. Hello, my name is what. Let's exchange. So in chapter 1, the same thing. So for them, instead of showing show IP, instead of show, for them it's display. Show IP OSPF neighbors. Show, we change it, we put display. OSPF is there, and instead of saying neighbors, they say peer. So it's the same thing. Just try to change a bit.
But Max,
Yeah.
so so even if you don't know the commands on a different type that is
Mhm.
not so small, if I should use the question mark, it
Yeah.
will give me the options to what I must use.
Normally, yes. Personally, I never work on a Huawei router, but I think there is something similar because we just copy paste these guys. Normally, yes. It's a DR, BDR, it's exactly the same thing. Domain single area, area 0. Let me And before NetAcad, Cisco was issuing such PDF to students who register. Then they will move to books. Then they move now to NetAcad. So some few comments. It's what. So when I go through it, it's exactly typical OSPF configurations. See, this is the router name, OSPF process ID, router. Let me check an example. If you're using the network command, network, you add the remote network, the wildcard, but here we don't specify the area. We specify the area before. So it's the same, but we change a bit, that's all. For example, for the cost, and then it's the same thing. You just need to compare how this guy will do their own, but yeah, it's the same. Yeah, anyway, I'll show it again now on Saturday. So thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your weekend. In that's raining and cold. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll be meeting again next time. Thank you.